Hi guys, James here, welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone's having a great day. In today's video, I wanted to sit down and talk about some of my favorite ColourPop palettes and kind of do a rankings video of all my ColourPop palettes. So we've got a whole lot here. I did have a lot more, but I have decluttered some over time. But these are the ones that I have. I think I've got about 12 or 13. And I just wanted to sit down and talk about them. I used to love ColourPop. I used to do a lot of ColourPop hauls and stuff like that, but I haven't really purchased as many as what I did in the previous years. But I wanted to sit down and talk about some of them. Like I said, I did declutter a lot of these. So if you're interested to find out what is my favorite ColourPop palette in my collection, just keep watching. Alright guys, so let's get straight into it. I have a whole lot of ColourPop palettes. I've got a ton of the 9-pan eyeshadow palettes. Oh, this is not a ColourPop palette. I was getting confused with the RawBeauty Pure and ColourPop, so this one is not part of the video, but the rest of the palettes I have are ColourPop palettes. So I have six 9-pan eyeshadow palettes, so we'll probably start with the least favorite of those ones. Then I've got some bigger palettes here as well, so let's get straight into it. The first palette that is probably my least favorite in my collection is this one here, which is this 9-pan eyeshadow palette. It is like a neutral palette, and this actually came with the Opalescent collection. I do have this other 9-pan palette from this collection, which I really love. This palette it's nice, it's just a very neutral palette, and it's not really my favorite color story, and I haven't actually used it. But there is this beautiful like gold shimmer that is very, very pretty. It's like an eyeshadow topper. We'll swatch some of these for you. That is a really pretty shade, and that shade is Sexy Back. It's got a green shimmer. It is kind of chunky glittery wise, but that's a pretty eyeshadow shimmer. I probably won't use this palette very often, but I'm not going to declutter it because I do want to give it a chance. So that is probably my least favorite palette in my collection so far. The next least favorite palette I have in this collection is this one here, which is In Love with a Triangle, In Love Triangle, whatever it is, I don't know. Some of these names are confusing. This is very, very pretty, like pastel blue, purple, and pink moment. It does have a chunky glitter in the middle, which is not my favorite, but the rest of the mattes are pretty. I just don't reach for this palette as much. Even though it's really pretty, I just don't reach for it because I have a lot of other palettes that have more pinks and purples, and I'm really into bright, bold pink, purple looks and blue looks. So this is probably my second least favorite ColourPop palette. There is this beautiful like iridescent shimmer shade. It's a beautiful like shimmery shade. I will give that a quick swatch for you. Hopefully it'll be, there you go, you can see the reflection. That is really pretty, and that shade is more of an eyeshadow topper, not really that pigmented. I'm doing multiple swatches and it's not really showing up. Yeah, it's not really showing up. You can probably barely see it there. That's more of like a brow highlighter, inner corner highlighter, not really like a shimmer that I love to use. I do absolutely love eyeshadow like toppers, but this one is less pigmented than what I'm used to. So I would probably, yeah, this is definitely number 2 in my collection. The next one we have is this one here, which is Aura and Out. Now, I love a green shimmer. I love a green shimmer. This palette is stunning. I don't even take the plastic off the mirrors anymore just because I always use a handheld mirror. But this palette is really, really pretty. Like these two greens are really pretty. But those are the two shades that I use mostly out of this palette. The other shades I don't really use too much. I have used this one, but those two are the shades that I use the most. So I'm definitely going to keep this palette. This is rated number 3. It does have a chunky glitter in it as well, which I don't use, which is a waste of a shadow for me because I'm only using 8 of the 9 shades in this palette. But it's a beautiful, beautiful color story. The two greens in this palette are really pretty. One is a shimmer and one is a matte. And I really like those two shades. I might even just depot these two shades and maybe get rid of the rest of the palette, but I'll do that for another video. And then guys, the next palette we have is the Blowing Smokes ColourPop palette. Now, I really love this palette. The only thing is, it doesn't close. I don't know if you can see it, it doesn't completely close, so it does like pop open, and I'm kind of worried that the shimmers are going to dry out. This is a really, really pretty like grey and grungy black palette. I love this palette so much. I use this palette a lot of times, especially if I need one like deep shade to darken out the outer corner and another shade's not working for me, I reach for this palette. So this palette is definitely one of my favorites, but it is a dark tone palette, so I don't really use all the shades. I usually just use 1 or 2 when I need them. I have done a couple looks with this palette and then popped a pink or a blue shimmer on top of it. But as in the palette that I use to do a full face or do a full look with, I don't really use that. So this is probably number 4 in my collection. Still a beautiful palette, and I love the mattes in that palette. They blend out really, really nicely. Next palette we have is a Blue Moon Colourpop palette. I really love this. This is my 3rd one of this palette. Really, really pretty. It's a very vibrant blue palette. I love it. And then this shimmer here, the shade Lumi, oh, it's stunning. It has a beautiful blue reflect to it. I use this as an inner corner highlighter all the time, or an eyeshadow topper. It's stunning. You put a light blue matte shade and then put this over the top of it. It just transforms it. It's a beautiful, beautiful opalescent blue, and I love that palette. And then the shade Tide Pool is a shimmer. Just, I mean, look at the pigment of that palette. It's stunning. That shade is stunning. Sorry, not the palette, the shade. Stunning. I struggle to find a vibrant blue like that that swatches that well and lasts on the eyes as well as that shade does. So that is a beautiful palette. I do like this palette. It is number 5 in my collection. Yeah, number 5 in my collection, just because I do have a lot of other blue shades that I use. But this is one of the go-tos that I will purchase over and over and over again. And like I said, this is my 3rd one of that palette. Alright, so the next palette we have, let me get rid of this on my fingers. I don't want to put it on my new towel because I just placed everything down. As you can see, I have a different background. I did change up my filming area, and I don't have the background anymore. I just have a light behind me, which I just think makes it cleaner in a video. So it is new to me, and I have just placed a new towel down in front of me, and I don't want to put this blue all over it. So let me just quickly get something. I should have done it before I sat down. And guys, we are back. So let's get straight into the video. Again, I've cleaned off my little finger, and I've got some paper towel next to me, so that way we don't have to pause the video every time I need to clean off my swatching finger. The next palette we have is this one here, which is the Hocus Pocus Disney palette, Colourpop collaboration with Disney and Hocus Pocus. I don't know if this is the first one or the second one. There was a purple one, but I don't know where that is right now. I still think I've got it in my collection somewhere, but I can't find it because I'm rearranging things. But that palette is probably next to this one. This is more of a grungy palette, while the other palette had some brighter, I think, orange and purple shades in it. This is more of a grungy gothic palette, I would consider. It's a beautiful palette. It's probably not my favorite, just color story wise. I like a brighter look, but I do like some of these mattes, like these 3 mattes at the bottom: Night of Frolic, Dead Man's Toe, and Bewitched. These 3 at the bottom are stunning. Like, I love a green, and I love these maroni tones is what I'm trying to say. So I do like that. And these shimmers, the Brew Potion is a really pretty foiled gold. Let me quickly swatch that one for you. It's quite soft, so I do have to be careful, but it is a really, really pretty foiled shade. And I do like these, but sometimes they do have fallout. But oh, it swatches stunningly. Look at that. That is so pretty, over a smoky eye. That shade is stunning. So that's a really pretty palette, and that is number 7. Number 6, and then the other Hocus Pocus is number 7 because that has some more bold, bright tones in it over this one, but still really pretty. And then, guys, the next palette we have is this one here. This is the At Forest Site RawBeauty X Kristi collaboration with Colourpop. I mean, the packaging is stunning. I love mushrooms, and I think this is beautiful. I was so lucky to get the whole entire collection. It sold out so quickly. I stayed up, and I think I set my alarm for 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was on that website, and I had a few other things already in my basket, and I checked out so quickly. I was so lucky because that sold out in 5 minutes, that collection. This palette is stunning. I love the matte shades at the top, the greeny bluey top shades, and then this gold shimmer is one of the best gold shimmers I've ever had in any of my palettes. That is stunning, and swatches. This palette is almost 2 years old, and still the shimmers are so creamy and buttery and swatch stunningly. Look at that. That is all the gold you ever need in a palette. So I'm really, really happy with this palette, and I still use it quite often. Not to do a full look, but I usually use the shade P and W, which is this bluey shade, and then this green shade, which is Emerald City. I love those 2 shades to deepen out outer corner, or smoky eye. That is the 2 shades I use. And then that gold shimmer is perfect for an inner corner pop of colour. Love that. So this is a beautiful palette. I love RawBeauty Kristi. I wish she did more makeup tutorials because I loved her honest opinion of makeup and where the community is. She hasn't done as many as what she used to, but I still really support her and I love this palette. So this is like one of my top favourite palettes. The next palette we have is this one. Now this palette is kind of not fair because it has so many shades in it, and I love the tones in this palette. The greens and the neutrals are stunning. Like I love the greens and then this random pop of colour, and then all the brown tones are stunning. The only thing with this palette is mine smells like a foot. Like it smells like it has been in a workman's boot for 12 hours and it comes out and this is what you're left with the smell. Like every time I open it, it smells like the smell hits me. You can't smell it when it's shut. Yeah, you can't smell it when... Actually smells nice when it's shut on the back anyway. But when you open it, I don't know if it's the glue that they've used in this palette, but it smells like a foot and it smells quite strong. So I don't really like that. If you guys have got this palette, please let me know if yours smells like a foot or if it's just mine. But anyway, this is a beautiful palette. This green shimmer is stunning. Let's swatch it. It is called Surreal. And oh my goodness, like when you talk about lime green, that is the shade you want. It's so pretty and swatches stunning. Like look at that lime green. Come on camera, focus. Look at that. That is stunning. That is another green. Like that blue and that green and those two shimmers. I just love shimmers. Like shimmers get me excited because they can complete a look so effortlessly. So this palette is up there just because it does have so many shades. So I love the warm brown tones. I'm not a huge fan of the cool tone brown. There is another big palette like a grey, which is like a grey packaging that has a lot of cool tones, and I didn't get that because I'm more of a warm tone type of a girl, so I like that palette, and this is beautiful. This is in my top 3 of my Colourpop palettes. The next palette I'm showing you is number 2 in my collection, but it used to be number 1 for a very long time, and I have had 4 of these. I've also bought one of these and passed it on to my friend, and she still uses it all the time. So this palette is the Going Coconuts palette. It's a beautiful neutral palette. It is a 9-pan palette. Now, I used to buy these when they were $12, and I think they've gone up to $14 now, Colourpop. So $12 US. It's been, I think, 3 years since I first got this palette, and then I've had 2 since then, just because I love this palette. It is a beautiful warm tone brown. I mean, this one looks more cool tone, but the rest there goes. See, it is a warm tone. It's so pretty. This shade here, Palm Reader, it is so soft. It does crumble a bit, and that's why I bought this palette multiple times, just because it does crumble. But it is a beautiful, like white silver iridescent shimmer. I have to swatch it for you. I'm running out of room, but it is stunning, and I have done multiple videos with this palette. Sometimes not highlighting this palette in those videos, but I've just used 1 or 2 of the shades to complete a look. That is that shade there. I have used this palette with other palettes that I'm reviewing don't work. This palette has come and saved the day. So this palette is number 2 in my collection and will probably always either be number 2 or number 1. It is so pretty. That is my ride or die palette. Now guys, we're on to my favourite Colourpop palette in my collection. This palette is a 9-pan eyeshadow palette. It is the Shell Shock Pressed Powder palette, and this is, I think, from the Opalize or Opalus collection. It is a beautiful 9-pan eyeshadow palette. It does have a couple of cool tone browns, which are not always my favourite, but the formula is really good on these. But the real reason I love these palettes are the rest of the shades. Like these 2 blues are stunning. This marble blue is beautiful. This one here and this pop of pink is stunning. I love this palette so much. This shade is like an iridescent pink. Stunning, beautiful. Look at the purple and pinks in that palette. Stunning. I'm going to have to swatch it for you. I'm running out of room, so I'm going to do it on my arm, which is not the best because I am a guy. I do have some hair on my arm, and it doesn't always swatch the best, but it is really, really pretty. I don't think the lights are going to adjust, but just trust me, it's beautiful. And then we have this iridescent blue eyeshadow topper in the same palette, which is very rare to have 2 like topper shades in one of the 9-pan eyeshadow palettes. That is that shade there. It does have pinks and purples, but more blue tones as well. And then the rest of these shades are stunning. The marbled shade in the middle is stunning. I will swatch it on my finger and then put it on the back of my hand. On the other side, I mean, look how pretty that is. So pretty. And it swatches so nicely. It is like a deep ocean shade on a cloudy day. That is the blue that I would see in the ocean with a cloud over it. Look how pretty that is. That is stunning, and it does look like glass on the back of my hand. Love this palette. It is highly recommended by me. I absolutely love the collection. I got the lip glosses, I got the other palette. The highlighters, the cheek highlighters in that collection are stunning. They are some of my favorites as well. So this whole entire collection, I think Colourpop nailed it. It did have the neutral palette in the collection, which I don't really use, but I still love this collection, and it is my favorite Colourpop palette in my collection today. And guys, that is my rundown of all my Colourpop palettes from top to bottom. I absolutely love Colourpop's formulas. Yes, some of them are not ones that I use all the time, but I love the formula and the shimmers. You can't go wrong with the shimmers from Colourpop. Very affordable palettes. I know the customer service is not the best with Colourpop. I have had a few issues with items coming back broken, and the customer service has been terrible when I've tried to reach out to them, but I do think the formula of Colourpop's eyeshadow palettes are amazing. I love the Super Shock shadows, the single shadows, their highlighters are great. I even like their concealer and foundation. I haven't tried any of their setting powders, but I do actually like some of their skincare. I'm using a Jelly Much moisturizer right now. I love that. I think I might have got that in this little collection. I don't know. I did do like a Colourpop haul like the start of the year or the end of last year, and I did get a whole lot of their moisturizers because I really love their skincare as well. So you can't really go wrong with Colourpop. If you've ever wanted to try it, try it. Now I use the code Nikki Tutorials because that does give you a discount, but they also do a lot of sales as well. So if you've ever thought about trying Colourpop, try their eyeshadow formulas. I always try and get a whole lot of different things. They also do mystery boxes now and then on their website, which includes skincare and eyeshadow palette and a mixture of their highlighters and also their lip products. So if you want to try something or try a whole lot of different things, maybe get one of their bigger mystery boxes, because they always do include a couple of eyeshadow palettes, usually the small ones, but at least that way you get to try some of their formulas before you jumping into the whole entire collection. Now Colourpop releases a new collection every week or every 2 weeks, so it's really hard to keep on top of everything. But I like to buy when there's Black Friday sales, and I buy a whole lot of things all in one go, just because I am here in Australia, so it does take a bit of time to get here shipping wise, but I still love Colourpop as a brand. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and also check out my Instagram and TikTok, because I do post a lot of videos on there as well. And let me know if you've got any of these palettes yourself, and let me know how you found them, because I always love to know your opinion on palettes that you've seen me use or talk about. And definitely let me know if you've got the big one, and let me know if yours smells like a foot, because mine does, and I don't know why. Alright guys, with that, I'll see you later on my love. Bye!